The last time these guys were all on stage together, it was a national moment. Gord Downie's final performance with the Tragically Hip broadcast live across the country. For Canadians, it was the chance to say goodbye. For the Hip, it was the end of a long journey. From indie band to national icons. Now, almost 5 years later, the remaining members of the band continue to build on their legacy. We were recently treated to some newly released Hip music, recordings that had been presumed lost in a fire. And this weekend, the band will be performing with Feist as part of the Juno celebrations. Lots to talk about when I sat down with them earlier this week. We started with that farewell show of 2016. The last time I saw you guys all on stage together was, of course, at your concert in Kingston. But I'll start, Johnny, with you. What do you remember from that night?
Well, for me, it was a little like being in a spaceship. You know, we were all in that room together. Everyone was observing what was going on. It was a pretty heavy moment, but you still got to play the gig. You know, you still got to go over the songs in your brain. But there were moments that were just, you know, they were totally crazy. And then moments that were just, you know, we're playing our last few notes as a band and soak it in.
Paul, how about you? Like, what do you remember from that night?
Well, it was a night that meant a lot to a lot of people. It's just a kind of a feeling of luckiness and just happiness for Gord that he was able to achieve that.
Rob, what was it like after that when you went backstage?
It was pretty surreal. The whole thing was very surreal for me. I'm good at compartmentalizing my emotions, and I tried as much as possible to treat it like just another day at the office.
Yeah.
Because we had a job to do. And then when it was over, I sat down and I had a really nice conversation with Gord. We chatted for about 20 minutes. It was very kind of quiet and tender. And then the work day's over. Clean out your desk, go home. There's no gold watch. Away you go. You're done.
Yeah.
I'm retired. And you go home and you think, I can deal with all this. It got pretty weird for me. I was messed up after the fact. I thought I was good going into it, and when it was all done, I thought I was good, but it got hard.
How do you mean?
Well, if you press all your grief or anger or whatever, if you bottle it all up, it's going to come out sometime, and it gets messy.
Right. Gord, last word to you here on this. What were you feeling? I mean, after the concert, the day after the concert?
We started off the whole tour out in Victoria really not knowing if we were going to get through the first show, let alone the whole tour. And then by the time we got to Kingston, we all got so buoyed by the audience every night. You know, he would drop a line and the crowd would sing along. You know, he got better. Like, I honestly believe he got better and better. And the band got better and better. And yeah, I just didn't want it to ever end, you know. I really didn't. I still wish it wasn't over, you know what I mean? Then the emotions start kicking in, You know, you kind of realize it's like, yeah, that was it. That was it.
The snow is so merciless, poor old Montreal.
It's been really great to hear you guys again on the Saskadelphia recordings. What a relief to think that you had lost these recordings.
Yeah.
This took 2 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know, of searching, finding out what was in the fire. It's taken 2 years to get these 6 songs.
Rob, what was it like to hear this again for the first time?
It was pretty incredible, actually. What really got me was hearing Gord's voice talking between songs. And, I'm listening with headphones on, and suddenly he's in my head talking. And it was, there were a few times where I just had to, stop it and put it away, and I'll come back to that in a week.
What a response, hey? Like, I was looking at even just Spotify before I came here to see the numbers for these songs, in the hundreds of thousands, doing incredibly well. Gord, what was it like to see the reception to this music from all these years ago?
It's heartwarming and buoying at the same time. I went out for an early morning paddle in my canoe at my cottage, and one of my neighbors said, "Hey, they were listening to your music up pretty late last night." And they were. You could hear it from across the lake. Someone had picked it up, It means a lot that it means a lot to people.
Got no picture postcards, ain't got no souvenirs. My baby, she won't know me when I'm thinking about them, yeah.
Sunday night at the Junos, the Tragically Hip are set to perform without Gord Downie for the first time. Feist will be taking the vocals. Gord, tell me how this came about to do this performance with Feist.
The possibility of playing the Junos was tabled a little while back. And frankly, none of us were super interested. You know, we hadn't played together and weren't really interested in playing without Gord. And then Jake Gold, our manager, suggested Feist might step into Gord's shoes. And it was really the first time collectively we kind of all like stopped for a minute. It's like, wow, that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, and we had said we weren't going to, and now here we are playing with Leslie.
Yeah.
Because that was such a curveball, like in the best way. Kind of like, okay, so that's not going to be some guy trying to sing like Gord or some guy trying not to sing like Gord. And
Don't tell me what the boys been doing in the long grass's overtime.
We'll go out on one last question. I'll make it a tough one, and for each of you.
Okay.
I want to ask you each how you want the Tragically Hip to be remembered.
You know, any artist wants their output to not only endure but actually mean something, hopefully uplift people, you know? Like, if we can do that, you know, for anybody, and Gord's words, you know, what more can you want as a legacy, I think.
Yeah, I've given it a lot of thought lately. Just, you know, the band is going to live beyond us, you know, our music. And I think a little bit of what, you know, maybe we wanted to do is to honor Gord. And, you know, people ask questions about Gord, you know, what was he like, you know, what were the things he was writing about? Well, here's some stuff on Saskadelphia.
That we were kind people. We tried hard. Isn't that enough?
I'd like us to be remembered as a career band, a band that made a life of it. And even though Gord is gone far too soon, it wasn't like we had a 6-year run. You know, we had a 32-year run. You know, it's obvious from how he's remembered with such love. He loved his band, the Hip, and so I just hope we're remembered for our work ethic and our output.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Lovely
Thank
to
you.
talk to you. Thanks for making the time.